people are each worth $550,000. Sarah owns a $500,000 house with no mortgage and has $50,000 in cash. Maya rents the same type of house, but she has $500,000 invested and the same $50,000 in cash. Who is financially safer? Most people answer this question in about 3 seconds. Homeowners say Sarah, investors say Maya. But when I ran the actual numbers over 10 years, the winner was ahead by only about $22,000, less than one major home repair. And when I changed just one assumption, the winner completely flipped. So today, we settle this with math, not real estate slogans, and not investing slogans. Before we begin, I need to make this comparison fair. Both women are 60 years old. Both have the same income, the same non-housing expenses, no debt, and $50,000 in emergency savings. Sarah's main asset is her paid-off home. Maya's is a broadly diversified portfolio, and she rents a comparable home. We're not assuming anyone lives for free, and we're not pretending a 6% return or 3% appreciation is guaranteed. These are simply our base case assumptions. Later, we'll change them and watch how easily the answer moves. Let's begin with the most common mistake in this debate. A paid-off house is not a free house. Sarah has no mortgage, but she still pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. For this example, I'm giving her $6,000 a year in property taxes, $2,500 in homeowners insurance, and a $5,000 annual maintenance reserve. That's $13,500 a year, or $1,125 per month. Maya's rent begins at $2,500 per month, $30,000 a year. So in year 1, Maya pays $30,000 minus $13,500. That's $16,500 more for housing. That difference matters. A house doesn't have to beat the stock market to be valuable. It provides housing and lowers future monthly obligations. But the opposite mistake is just as dangerous. Low monthly expenses don't automatically mean Sarah has enough liquid money to live on. Now let's run the base case over 10 years. We'll assume Sarah's home appreciates 3% annually. The calculation is 500,000 multiplied by 1.03 to the 10th power. After 10 years, the house is worth approximately $671,958. Now consider Maya's portfolio. At a 6% annual return, $500,000 left completely untouched would grow to approximately $895,424. At first, investing appears to win by more than $223,000. But that is the misleading version of this comparison. Maya still needs somewhere to live. She spends $16,500 more in year 1, and that gap grows 3% every year. Over 10 years, her cumulative extra housing cost is approximately $189,000. And because that money leaves throughout the decade, Maya also loses the growth it could have earned. So instead of simply subtracting at the end, we grow the portfolio each year and then subtract that year's extra housing expense. Under those assumptions, Maya's portfolio finishes at approximately $649,612. Sarah's home finishes at $671,958. So Sarah, the homeowner, finishes ahead by about $22,346. Not $200,000. Not $500,000, just $22,000. And remember, that's before home selling costs, investment taxes, portfolio fees, or the possibility that Sarah's actual repairs blow past our reserve. Now we reach the part most online comparisons leave out. Small changes in assumptions create completely different conclusions. Keep Sarah's home appreciation at 3%, but raise Maya's portfolio return from 6 to 7%. Maya now finishes with approximately $726,000, ahead of Sarah by about $54,500. The investor now wins. In another scenario, assume a 5% portfolio return and 2% home appreciation. Maya reaches about $579,000. Sarah's home reaches about $609,000. Sarah wins by just over $30,000. The lesson is not that 6% is the magical answer. The lesson is that anyone who declares housing always wins, or stocks always win, without showing their assumptions, is not giving you a complete analysis. At this point, Maya appears to have one major disadvantage. The stock market moves every day, while Sarah's house appears stable. But a house does not become risk-free merely because there is no price ticker above the front door. A HomeTen's apartment programs bot every actually shop. Home prices can decline. Neighborhoods can change. Insurance and taxes can increase. A roof, a plumbing system, or an air conditioner can fail. The difference is that Sarah doesn't see her home's value changing every afternoon. Maya sees market volatility immediately. Sarah experiences much of her risk through large expenses, geographic concentration, and difficulty accessing her equity. Maya experiences hers through visible price swings and the possibility of selling during a downturn. Diversification can reduce investment risk, but it cannot guarantee against losses in a market decline. This is why the better question is not which asset never loses money. Neither qualifies. The better question is, which risks can this person actually survive? Maya also faces a risk that becomes especially important when she's withdrawing money. The order of investment returns matters. I tested the same 10 annual returns in 2 different orders. Without withdrawals, both sequences finish at the same value, approximately $777,000. But once we subtract Maya's annual housing cost, the order matters. When the worst return hits near the beginning, she finishes with about $528,000. When the worst year comes last, she finishes with about $560,000. Same starting money, same 10 returns, different order, a difference of more than $31,000. That happens because money withdrawn after an early market decline is no longer there to participate in the future recovery. So, who is safer? Sarah is safer in one important way. Her required monthly housing expense is much lower. She never has to pull $30,000 a year from anywhere, simply to remain in her home. But Maya is safer in another important way. Her wealth is liquid. If she needs $20,000, she can sell part of her portfolio. Painful in a downturn and possibly taxed, but possible. Sarah cannot buy groceries with a bedroom. To access her equity, Sarah may need to sell the house, borrow against it, or use another financial product, each with costs and risks. So a person can be house rich but cash poor, or portfolio rich but burdened by expensive rent. Neither is automatically financially secure. Here is a better way to measure your own financial safety. First, calculate your real annual housing cost. For a homeowner, mortgage payments, if any, property tax, insurance, maintenance, association fees, and realistic repair reserves. For a renter, rent, renter's insurance, expected increases, and the cost of moving if the rent becomes unaffordable. Second, calculate your liquid runway. Cash and genuinely liquid emergency assets divided by essential monthly expenses. That tells you how many months you can survive without income. Third, calculate your concentration. Divide your home equity by your total net worth. If nearly everything you own is inside one house, your monthly expenses may be low, but your financial flexibility may be low too. Fourth, perform 4 stress tests. Could you survive a $25,000 home repair? A 20% portfolio decline? A 10% rent increase? And 6 months without employment income? Whichever scenario breaks your plan reveals the risk you should address first. Here is my final answer. A paid-off house can make you safer by lowering your required monthly expenses. A diversified portfolio can make you safer by providing liquidity, flexibility, and potential long-term growth. But neither asset by itself guarantees financial security. For many people, the strongest position is not choosing one extreme. It is having manageable housing costs, an emergency reserve, and diversified liquid investments at the same time. Because the goal was never to win an argument about houses versus stocks. The goal is to build a financial life that can survive bad timing. So, which would make you feel safer today? A paid-off $500,000 home or $500,000 invested? Tell me why down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.